Please help me up, don't shoot me down. My third second chance, but this is true romance. Help me up, don't shoot me down. My third second chance, but this is true romance. I've been praying for the rain to fall. Wash me down so I reborn. Open heavens, let it pour. You better love me again. 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 Oh, you better love me again.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Today, the conclusion of the New England Invitational as the undefeated UMass Boston Beacons take on the also unbeaten Bowdoin College Polar Bears. That's up next right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Welcome back and thank you for joining us here on the BBN. Along with Seth Orensky, I am John Skudras. Thrilled to have you with us for what's promising to be an outstanding volleyball match between two teams who have yet to lose in 2018. The Bowdoin College Polar Bears, who earlier today triumphant over University of Maine Presque Isle in straight sets 3-0. They've yet to lose a set here in 2018, and they take on a UMass Boston team that is similarly undefeated, only having lost a couple of sets through their first 5 games of the year. Seth, both of these teams, very good, a lot of talent on both sides. They haven't met each other since the seniors currently were freshmen back in 2015, but they met each other a lot in the past, and it promises to be an outstanding match.
You look at these two teams and you're looking at a pair of teams who have not only been very strong within their conferences, but also within New England. UMass Boston, a 3-time regional champ in the last 10 years. Bowdoin 2015, their last time in the NCAA tournament, they made it all the way to the Elite Eight. So you're looking at two strong programs who might be seeing a bit of a resurgence after Bowdoin missed the last 2 years and the Beacons were knocked out last season in the first round. So this is a chance for them not only to get off to a good start, but get a resume win early on in the year. Bowdoin yet to lose. The Beacons faced a little bit stiffer competition out in Ohio than Bowdoin's faced thus far, but they haven't lost more than one set in a single match, and this should be a really fun one. Similar systems, similar levels of talent, it might come down to execution.
Great defenders on both sides of the court today for the visiting Polar Bears. They're led by Lisa Sheldon, who has 25 digs so far this year. But for UMass Boston, defensively, with Rachel Maslak out, it's had to be a collective effort to pick up the pace. Who has stepped up for the Beacons so far?
Well, it all starts with Michaela Kiyako, who is the defensive player of the tournament in the LAC, and she's obviously one of their leaders. But it's a group effort. Every single player, Rachel Maslak, not only a setter, but also a hitter. She's one of their better overall players. The freshmen have played really well. The block has been outstanding. And it's going to be really interesting to see in this match which team can find the holes, because there aren't many in these two defenses, but which can find the holes and open up and maybe create some problems defensively for the opposite side.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the all-time series matchup between these two vaunted foes, they haven't met, as we said, in 4 years, but back in the early to mid 2010s, these teams met each other an awful lot. As we said, they met twice in 2011 and 2015, and 3 times in 2012, having played 9 times between 2011 and 2015. The all-time series is 8-4 in favor of Bowdoin, with the last UMass win coming in 2012, 3-2 in the NCAA Regional Final. Their last overall meeting coming in the first round of the 2015 tournament, with Bowdoin winning 3-0. These teams have met 3 times in NCAA tourney play since 2011. So while these players themselves may not have played each other much, the institutions themselves, the rivalry is rich.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the one UMass Boston volleyball match I'll never forget is the 2012 final held by Bowdoin College, a 3-2 Beacons victory. The crowd was actually the difference. The Beacons bust down 2 raucous buses full of students, and they made an impact against a Bowdoin fan section that was made up of parents and friends. It was tremendous volleyball. It went down to, I think it was 15-13, 16-14 the fifth set. Clearly the 2 best teams in New England that year. These 2 teams have met 3 times. Bowdoin's only been to the NCAA tournament 3 times. So when Bowdoin's looking like they might have an NCAA tournament run, they're hoping the Beacons get there too, just to keep that run. Really rivalry between these 2 teams, separated by about 4 hours. But you know the coaches and alumni certainly look for that other team on the schedule.
They certainly do, and they meet up again for the first time since 2015. It's the Beacons and the Polar Bears, UMass Boston and Bowdoin. That's coming up next, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. But for now, let's check out highlights of UMass Boston's 3-0 victory over the Owls of Maine Presque Isle earlier today. Far for Strobe, leading the way for the Presque Isle Owls, is digging that one out and setting it up now. Here's Hosky, gets it over the net, dugout. Kianko sets up Shi, looking for the kill, and a good dig made there by Thweet. But the Beacons do answer back. In the middle, standing tall at 6'2", she and Casey Shea, both 6 feet 2 inches tall to lead the team. Kianko digs that one out, and a beautiful move to set up Sarah Doyle. And for the visiting Owls, here's A-Rods. Her first service of the afternoon, dug out by Shi. And then getting set up beautifully for the spike there was Doyle. She's now in the back in front of Birch, who will continue to serve for the Beacons. It's 20-4 UMass Boston, and another ace now for Sydney Birch, 18. As this one is set up by A-Rods. Spike down there by Washinwood Hook. Dug out smartly by Shi. Far side. Good play and an effort made for UMass Boston. As tipping that one in is Ava Campano. Continues to improve from the service area. As that one is another ace for UMass Boston. Stick with what works as A-Rods goes far side for Hosky. Star partially deflected up front. Elliott, ooh, she fools the defense and me as she almost looked like she was going to set up her teammate. Instead, she just went right over the net with the open-handed tap. But 18-5 Beacons, set number 2. As another ace from Ariana. Listed at 6 feet tall. Margaret Dickinson second at 5'11". The Beacons with the height advantage significantly. And there's a beautiful play from the service area. Still letting kills by Eileen Shi. She's got almost a 44% hitting percentage as Dickinson gets it over. Dug out by Kianko. And good play as the Beacons see Kianko and Commons setting up Tiscareno from Colorado Springs, Colorado. 17-4 Beacons, as that was Francis delivering her first service at home for a Beacons young freshman, as there's Eileen Shi punishing the ball and punishing Maddie Thweet. 20-5, excuse me. I haven't updated the official scoreboard above the court, as that one is delivered there by Kassengal. So UMass Boston getting off to a solid start here in the New England Invitational with that 3-0 sweep over Presque Isle. Presque Isle then was swept by Bowdoin in the middle game of this triple header on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. And now here we are getting you set for Game 3, the finale of the New England Invitational, as these 2 undefeated squads do battle on the blue court here at UMass Boston. Again, along with Seth Orensky, I am John Skudras. Happy to have you with us here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network as we get set now for the opening service here between the Beacons and the Polar Bears. Let's take a look at the statistical outlook through the first 5 games for the Beacons and 4 for the Polar Bears. And Seth, when you take a look at the numbers, I mean, they speak for themselves. These 2 teams not only evenly matched in the record column, but also statistically as well.
Yeah, you look at the stats, and actually we don't have the stats from that included from the last match against UMPI. It's actually going to hurt Bowdoin in a couple of categories. The Beacons, we updated their stats in between matches. Their digs percent went down, their assist percent went down, just because the matches went so quickly that you can't actually accrue as many stats. But the big thing is the aces percent. These are 2 very strong serving teams. Anytime you see anything above 1.5 to 2. It's a good serving team. The fact that we're looking at numbers, yes, early in the season of this high, that's a serious stat, and it'll be something interesting to see with two teams that have pretty good serve receives as well.
Yeah, we saw in the UMPI match the Beacons utilize their advantage in service to get early advantages and go on deep runs. We'll see if they continue that trend against the Polar Bears or if Bowdoin's strength in that area will counter UMass Boston's. Let's take a look at the individual leaders for both squads coming into play today for UMass Boston. Eileen Shi, well, she has continued to dominate offensively for the Beacons. The LEC Offensive Player of the Week, the defending LEC OPW, I should say, has been outstanding today as well, as she led the team in kills in the victory over the Owls. Sarah Doyle is the leader in hitting percentage. Carson Cominsk, the leader in assists. Michaela Kiyanko, the leader in digs. And Marcelle Tiscareno, the leader in blocks. Meanwhile, for the Polar Bears, Sophia Paul, 23 kills, leading the way there, and leading the way in hitting percentage at 33%. She's going to have a big day today if the Polar Bears are going to come into UMass and come away with a victory.
Well, yes and no. What I really like about Bowdoin's attack is they have 7 players through 4 matches with 10 or more kills. So it's not one player. If Paul struggles a little bit, you can go on to Caroline Flaherty or Gabby Koenig or Ashley Williams. All of those players have excelled in the early going. It makes it more difficult defensively because you can't key in on a player like Paul, and that's a big reason why her hitting percentage at .333. When your teammates are also hitting well, it puts defense at a disadvantage.
It certainly does. Let's take a look at our players to watch as we get set for the opening service of this one. For Bowdoin to begin, Lisa Sheldon. She leads the way for the Polar Bears with 45 digs this year, 5%, a pretty impressive number when you compare her to the rest of her competition. 3 aces and 9 assists on the year. Meanwhile, you look at Michaela Kiyanko. She's picked up right where she left off in the LEC tournament when she was named Most Outstanding Player last year, and she leads the way with 68 digs for UMass Boston.
Well, these two players have followed a very similar career trajectory. Neither player was a starter in their first couple years at their respective institutions. Sheldon took over as a starter last year as a junior and actually was named the ABCA Regional Player of the Year. Had a very strong season, 582 total digs. She was a second-team All-American. Michaela Kiyanko, at least the Beacons coaching staff, felt that she was slighted. They thought that she had a chance to be the top libero in the region with her numbers. Kiyanko did not start until her first senior year. The Beacons got an extra year because she didn't play her first season. So you're looking at two players who have been around the block, who had to sit back, wait behind a tremendous libero, and now have really grabbed the Bulls by the horns, and they are the rock of their defense for their respective teams.
Michaela Kiyanko certainly picked up where Elizabeth Glavin left off when she graduated back in 2016. Let's take a look at the starters for this afternoon's match, beginning first with Bowdoin College. The starters on your screen from left to right: Sophia Paul, Caroline Flaherty, Ashley Williams, Kate Kaiser, Sydney Soleil, and Daniel Abrams, with Lisa Sheldon, number 5, the aforementioned libero. And for UMass Boston, also from left to right, the Beacons led offensively there: Carson Cominsk, Amelia Shepieska, Ava Campano, Marcelle Tiscareno, Eileen Shi, Sarah Doyle, and Michaela Kiyanko. Same lineup that the Beacons have trotted out for the duration of this season, and why not when you're undefeated so far?
The Beacons coaching staff isn't going to change anything until Rachel Maslak comes back. We talked about her in the opener. She's probably going to be the Beacons' number 1 setter. They do have 3 returners. They have 6 total setters, so it's not as if they didn't have players who could back her up. But she brings a lot to the table as a setter and hitter. That's why they have 2 freshmen in Tiscareno and Campano in the starting lineup, but both have played well. So why change it right now? There's no reason to rush Rachel Maslak back from an ankle injury, especially considering conference play doesn't start till the 14th of September.
We are almost set for the start of this match between the 5-0 UMass Boston Beacons and the 4-0 Bowdoin College Polar Bears. When we come back, we'll have the keys to the game and the first service of this, the finale of the 2018 New England Invitational. That's up next right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
As the starters are announced by the PA announcer, let's take a look at our keys to the match as we get set for the national anthem. And Seth, what really sticks out to you here on our three keys?
Well, those were the keys that I threw up on Wednesday or Thursday, just looking at the stats for Bowdoin through one match, and I think they really hold up through four matches now. Need a strong serve receive, both teams coming in with over 3 kills per set. Then you look at spread the ball offensively. Well, that's what Bowdoin does so well, and that's how you move the libero Sheldon around. If she can't pinpoint, okay, this is the player who's getting it, this is where I need to be, it makes it tougher and minimize Bowdoin's runs. That's really a key for both of these teams. When you run a 6-2 offense, which means that you have 2 setters coming in, if a setter comes off the bench cold and they struggle a little bit, that means the other team can go on a run. And it's more likely to happen when you do have setters coming in and out. They're the key to your offense, the rhythm of your offense. So it means that your setters need to be crisp, and the coaches need to use the timeouts if that other team is threatening to go on a run. Because we could easily see a lot of sets that go down to 25-23, maybe even extend the set between these two teams. There's a reason they're both undefeated, and I think we're going to see them up their play after a little bit of struggles in that first match against UMPI for both sides where maybe they didn't play their best volleyball. I think they're going to play up to the competition in this match, knowing that chance to leave this match with an undefeated record and, more importantly, that first big win of the year.
UMass Boston has not lost a match yet, nor has Bowdoin College. UMass has only lost 2 sets the entire season, and Bowdoin has yet to fall to a single team in a single set here in 2018. The 2 squads are ready, and we are ready as well here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Again, along with Seth Orensky, I am John Skudris. Happy to have you with us on the BBN, as one of these 2 teams will walk away from this afternoon's affair with their first L of the 2018 season.
And we already know it's going to be a team wearing black. That's the beauty of these tri-matches. In Bowdoin's case, a 4-match weekend, playing 2 matches against Brandeis. Don't necessarily have time to coordinate with the opposing teams, so always makes it a little bit more difficult on the people watching at home and even the broadcasters when you have the exact same color of the uniforms, although it's easy to tell if you're able to look in closely. You see the paw of the polar bear on the Bowdoin jersey along with some stripes, and the Beacons going with the blue as their alternate color.
What gets me is that both UMPI and Bowdoin wore white for the mid-match, and now they're both wearing black. If they had just, switched one of them, we wouldn't have had that issue. But you know what? That's what you and I are here for. They don't need to know the colors as long as we illustrate it to them. The Beacons will begin with the first service, and it will be Carson Kamensk, number 9 for Kate Carlson's club, as Kamensk is ready. Beacons and the Polar Bears here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. First service by Kamensk. Far side, nice dig there by the libero. Near side, good. Overhanded swap by Paul, but she is denied up front. The Beacons defense starting out strong. It's 1-0 UMass Boston.
Love that play from Marcelle Tiscareno. The solo block, no help, but sensing that the pass was going to be the back line, had time to set herself up, and a really nice job to put it straight down.
And another beautiful play by who else? Tiscareno, as she puts the Beacons up 2-0.
Well, neither of these are going to go as aces for Carson Kamensk, but it's that strong service, a difficult one for Sheldon to handle. Not a good pass, and the Beacons thus far are really putting some pressure on the serve receive.
As that one is a good counter by the visiting Polar Bears, as Kate Kaiser out of Ingleside, Illinois, on the second hit there, gets it down.
Yeah, a little bit of another awkward serve receive. She was tight to the net, and Kaiser caught the Beacons napping, going over on 2. Already her 9th kill on the year for the setter for Bowdoin.
And Bowdoin hands it right back as there's an error by Caroline Flaherty out of Fort Myers, Florida. And it's 3-1 UMass Boston as Chepieska will serve for the first time, and that's an ace. A beautiful start for Amelia Czepieska as she gets the Beacons back up by 3.
That's Czepieska's 12th service ace on the year. The Beacons have 4 different players with double-digit aces through 5 matches.
Second time around here for Czepieska. Dug out and set up now for the soft touch by Sophia Paul. And unable to handle it there was Michaela Kianko. Not often you say that. It's 4-2.
Yeah, the Beacons block, mistiming their jump a little bit on the soft tip from Bowdoin. And right now, Bowdoin is finding their success against the Beacons when they do go soft. The Beacons are trying to time their block for that huge block.
Danielle Abrams' first service of the day. There's an opportunity for the spike and a nice effort by Sophia Paul on the deflection. Point to Bowdoin College.
Yeah, Paul, the team's top hitter, already 29 kills on the year, hitting pristine .324. Nice job to just punish that one through the block. And this is more of what we expected to see.
Abrams' second service, dug out by Czepieska. Setting it up for the spike attempt there by Ashley Williams. We mentioned Williams and how she'll be used today, one of the taller players on these Polar Bears. And instead, it's Paul again, standing 5 feet 9 inches. The outside hitter evens it up at 4.
Beacon's coaching staff actually pointed out that Williams was the player to watch. Her numbers not quite as good as Paul, but the fact that she's a lefty and a strong swinging one, it's so difficult at this level where if you don't have one on your team in practice, you're not used to seeing that, and typically lefties really, really excel, especially athletic ones, and Williams looks to be a pretty good threat for Bowdoin.
After Abrams' first error, she's replaced by the libero, Sheldon. First service from Kianko is an error, and Michaela gives it right on back to the Polar Bears with the score evened up at 5. Serving now is going to be Emily King, who just entered into the game for Ashley Williams. Right-handed service from King. She sets it up and slammed down there by Tiscareno. Coming on back now. Good setup for comments to find Kianko to Shi. Dug out by the libero. Far side now set up for the recently entered Caroline Flaherty, who slams it down. And for the first time in this match, Bowdoin College has the lead. Second service here for King. Beacons keep it alive as that one is dug out off the chance from Tiscareno, but out of bounds off the libero Sheldon. The Beacons have evened it up at 6.
Really like the confidence that Tiscareno's showing in her game. Unable to get that solo block down on the opposite side, making an error, immediately comes back with another strong swing. Beacons really showing some confidence in her as she gets the start along with Doyle, but she's the player who stays on amongst the Beacons' 2 middles.
Sydney Birch in for the first time to serve. That one off the Jumbotron, and sometimes the home infrastructure doesn't help the home team as the Beacons fall victim to the ball clanging off of that Jumbotron in the middle of the court. And back on top are the Polar Bears.
Yeah, but that's an inexcusable error on the Beacons side. This is your home court. You know the bounces. You've seen the bounces. Beacons just need to communicate there. Neither player went for the ball.
Birch digs that one out, going to the ground. Meanwhile, there is, who else? Czepieska, as she gets the Beacons back even, hammering it down overhand, 7-7.
Yeah, both teams right now having a lot of success on sets behind the 6-foot line as the block unable to knock that one down.
Oh, and an error there from Shi. The Beacons duo of Kianko and Shi, who were stellar from the service area in the opener this afternoon against UMPI. 2 errors to begin their day. It's 8-7. Here is the libero Sheldon. Lisa. Dug out far side, Michaela. And then slammed down from Eileen Shi, but the Beacons bounce back.
I think I've got a net violation there on Bowdoin on the attempted block, which bailed out the Beacons as that ball was going to go long.
That's what I thought. That's why I was confused by the official score. We had it 9-7 for a moment. It is 8-8. And here's Sarah Doyle with her first service. And that one is also out of bounds. So Beacons not as sharp as they'd like to be here early on.
Well, John, you talked to Kate Carlson, who's the coach today for UMass Boston, and you asked her about could this potentially hurt. I think having some downtime can help, but it does potentially show when you're not as crisp, when your service is going a little bit long. You're just trying to ease back into the game while the match is already underway, and Bowdoin is certainly warm after they were able to crush UMPI.
Yeah, you said it. Kate Kaiser delivering on that one. It's 10-8. Polar Bears is unable to handle it. It's one of the Beacon's best service specialists in Birch. So here's Kaiser back, ready to serve for the second time, and that one this time is dug out by Birch. Elliott able to set up an opportunity for Chepievska. Dug out well, but out of bounds. It stayed in, they say, as Elliott sets it up. Kianko far side, but unable to keep that one in, was the recently entered Ava Campano.
It's a great diving effort from Caroline Flaherty to get that one inside the antenna, forcing Kate Carlson to use the timeout. The Beacons lineup right now, very small. Chepievska, the tallest player out there. No middle hitter with Sydney Birch replacing the middle. Beacons need to get a side out, get a little bit more offensive, get a little bit of a better block lineup out there, and then they just need to attack. There's nothing that Bowdoin has done thus far that I think is going to wow the UMass Boston coaches, and I don't think anything the Beacons have done is going to scare the Bowdoin coaches. Both teams haven't necessarily shown their best volleyball here through the first 19 points.
The score is Polar Bears 11, UMass Boston Beacons 8. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue set one here between UMass Boston and Bowdoin College.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce in Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason. That recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Seth Orensky, along with myself, John Skudras. It's 11-8, Bowdoin College here in set number one between two undefeated volleyball squads, as the chance for service there is out, and that's an error on Kaiser, who had been so excellent the last couple of times. And I believe it should be 11-9. Official score says 12-8.
Yeah, it should be 11-9. They just switched on the scoreboard. That's already the third service error on Bowdoin, but the Beacons also have three. So neither team has been serving nearly as well as we expected.
What an effort there by the libero Sheldon to get that over on the third touch. Meanwhile, what an effort from Chepievska. She slams it down, 12-9.
But that's what you need to do. Get a good reception there, put it across, get a good pass, and find a player, because you're always going to have more room. The defense is still scrambling to get back into position, and Chepievska had a lot of room in that back right corner.
We had it right. It should be 11-10, Bowdoin.
Correct. They're fixing it right now. David Wahlberg down at the scores table, making sure the official score is correct.
UMass Boston's Carson Commons delivering from the service area. Dug out. Here's Kaiser setting it up. Deflected right back out from whence it came from Danielle Abrams. Here's the dig by Kianko, far side Chepievska. Soft overhand over the net. Sheldon setting up an opportunity for Williams. Beacons and the Polar Bears. Good volley here as Campano sees Kaiser setting it up for Sheldon. Sheldon on the third touch. Over for Cominsk and Campana. Another great dig from Sheldon, but eventually just too much prowess from UMass Boston as Kaiser couldn't get it over the net. We're evened up.
Really nice point on both sides. A great dig from Carson Cominsk when she was all alone on the near side. And then a great job by Kianko recognizing that her setter was out of position to get to the net, keep the ball up, and extend the point.
Near side, Williams slams it down and in. What a drive there. And the kill for Ashley Williams, who we mentioned it. The left-handed Williams is going to be a thorn in the Beacon side.
Well, it's just something that you have to adjust to, and it takes some time in-game because you can't prep for it in practice if you don't have a lefty on your coaching staff or on your team.
Flaherty with the service there as Sheldon digs it out, setting up an opportunity for an overhanded spike there from Abrams, and eventually this one comes out of bounds off of UMass Boston, and so Bowdoin already proving to be a very vaunted foe for the Beacons today.
Well, Bowdoin did a great job. The Beacons went on a mini run, got it back to 11-11. They got back-to-back points. Really, both teams have done a nice job of limiting the damage.
There's Shepievska getting it over on the third hit. And from the far side, Williams, great one-handed dig from Michaela Kianko, and then Shepievska, but unable to get it over was Eileen Shi, and just like that, the Beacons back down 3.
Yeah, Beacon's just scrambling there a little bit. No one communicating. A lot of players rushing to the ball, but no one's taking charge.
Here is Flaherty again. She finds Comments back to Eileen, and that one dug out by Sheldon. It's going to be a real tough play. This is a third touch, and a good play made by Kaiser. Here's Comments, far side. Shepievska blocked right back at her. And out of bounds, so a break for the Beacons. That was close to being a beautiful block. And point for Ashley Williams. The Beacons get it. Shepievska back to the service area.
There have been a couple of very close calls on the Beacon side for the line judge. One each in the last 5 points have gone to both sides, with the other team not appreciating the call.
Flaherty sends it far side. She to Comments, back to Eileen. Good dig from Sheldon, and a good job going up and over the net there. And eventually the Beacons able to take advantage, as rising above the trees there was Tiscareno trying to tap it home. And the Beacons are down 1.
Bowdoin is making the Beacons work so much harder than they had to against the Owls of Presque Isle. It's amazing how many times they've been able to dig out balls that looked like they were getting down.
That one was close, but the line judge gives it to Bowdoin.
Actually, it was the up official saying that the Beacons tipped that one. The line judge ruled it was out, but the up official right above the net there saying it caught the Beacons block.
Close call, but the Polar Bears get the advantage by 2 now, as Comments sends it far side for Shi, and then Shi slams it home inbounds for a beautiful kill for Eileen Shi. And now Kianko heads to the service area as we will get a substitution.
Just the second kill for Eileen. The Beacons right now being led by Amelia Shepievska with 3. On the other side, Sophia Paul has 5 kills versus just 1 error.
Service from Kianko, and unable to handle it there was Flaherty. Or excuse me, that's Sophia Paul, as that one came out off of Sophia. And we are evened up yet again as this topsy-turvy roller coaster ride of a first set continues. Here's Michaela, who had an error on her first service. Got the job done there, as sending it right back at Paul, but unable to keep it in was Doyle. And it's 16-15, as entering into the match now will be Emily King. She will replace number 8, Ashley Williams. King will head to service area. And with her team up by 1, this one dug out by Shepievska. Far side, Doyle, blocked back at her and down. Good play and an effort made there by Sydney Soleil, as UMass Boston trails 17-15, and we will get a timeout on the court with that score.
It's a good timeout. Kate Carlson, I mean, that last point, you had 6 Beacons ball watching. Literally the entire right side of the court wide open. It was you or I could potentially put that ball down, and neither of us has a lot of volleyball skills. UMass Boston needs to get a little bit crisper, a little tighter. Give Bowdoin a lot of credit, though. The Beacons have got themselves back into this match, coming back from 2 or 3 points down 3 times now, and every single time Bowdoin responds with a little 2 or 3 point mini run to keep control and the momentum going their way.
Certainly has. We are in the first set. Best of 5, as Bowdoin College leads it 17-15. You see Kate Carlson on your screen discussing with her club the strategies for the remainder of the set and beyond. Carlson's team 5-0 coming into play today. And the Beacons certainly, while they do have some new faces, still have the experience of the likes of Michaela Kianko, Christina Elliott, and, of course, Eileen Shi. Those seniors were just freshmen the last time these two schools met in volleyball action, back in 2015. We are back out of the timeout as the Beacons go out with Shi, Shepievska, Kianko, Tiscareno, Carson Kamensk, and on the far side, that is Sarah Doyle. Still serving here for the Polar Bears is Emily King. Dug out by Shi. Kamensk going back behind her to Tiscareno, but the Beacons out of position there as Kamensk couldn't catch up to it. It's 18-15.
It was a good idea by Tiscareno, but she telegraphed it. She made it so obvious that she was going to go up with the tip that the block was able to retime their jump and easily put it down. The Beacons defense wasn't able to adjust.
Dug out nicely by Michaela Kianko. Meanwhile, here's Sheldon. She had to get it over. She does. Doyle for comments. Far side for Shi, who mistimes her jump and is unable to get her hands on that one. And that is a rare misstep for Eileen Shi.
Well, the Beacons got the free ball they needed. They needed that point, and instead unable to connect. Right now, UMass Boston just need to tighten up. They're not playing very good volleyball.
That one almost got over on its lonesome, but a good effort made by Paul. And Sophia, the team's leader in kills, continues to kill the Beacons in the first set. It's 20-15, Bowdoin College. And that was hesitation from comments up front of whether or not to rise up for that, as that service is out of bounds and an error on number 3, Caroline Flaherty. Beacons get service back. Substitution as Birch, the team's best server so far this year, back in.
Well, this is huge. Right now you need a mini run, down by 4, potentially 5 points to play. This is the player you want at the service line.
Birch, overhanded service, and that one is out of bounds, an error on Sydney Birch. So things crumbling down here in the first set for the Beacons as service goes back to Sophia Paul and the Polar Bears.
Talked about the tremendous service for these two teams. They've combined for 3 aces and 8 service errors. So a little bit off today, at least in this match.
Bianco dug that out, far side, slamming it home off of the hands of Doyle up front. Beautiful play from Sydney Soleil as the Chadsford, Pennsylvania native has put the visiting Polar Bears up by 6.
Right now it's an avalanche in favor of this Bowdoin team. They've scored 7 of the last 8 points, and I mean, you see it there. When Michaela Kianko is unable to make a service reception, just turning her hands the wrong way, clearly the Beacons need to settle down, and they're going to probably have to do it down a set, as UMass Boston just has not been able to do the little things right over the last 10 points.
Elliott setting up Doyle, pounds that over. Kaiser near side, and able to get it down was Flaherty, and now set point for the Polar Bears. They have not lost a set all season long. 12 for 12 through their first 4 matches, and they're trying to make it 13 for 13, 24-16. Here is Flaherty. Should be Paul back in the service area, dug out by Michaela. Elliott, far side for Shi, trying to keep it alive, and now that is going to be sent back over by Flaherty. Kianko for Elliott, and then Shi is blocked back. Good save by Doyle, but they'll say that the point will count, and that will do it for set number 1.
Well, it was a really good set for the first 30 points, and then Bowdoin goes on a 10-1 run, and Bowdoin played well. I mean, don't get me wrong, but UMass Boston just needs to get back to the basics here. Beacons need to put that first set behind them and mentally get back into this match. They did not look like they had the confidence in themselves or each other after the timeout. I mean, UMass Boston used the timeout, and Bowdoin went on another 3-4 point run. That can't happen. You have to come out reinvigorated after the timeout, and now the Beacons put themselves in a hole against a team that hasn't lost a set. Now you have to win 3 of 4 versus 3 of 5.
25-16, Bowdoin College is the final in set number 1 as they take the first of a potential best of 5 here from UMass Boston. Let's go to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have first set highlights as well as a look around Beaconville and see how the rest of the Beacons athletics are faring on a fall Saturday, it seems, here in September in Boston, Massachusetts. We'll be back right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Very public service focused, and it piqued my interest, and I started doing more research on it. I'm very focused on what can I do to make the world around me a better place. My name is Lydia Grasso. I'm a junior at UMass Boston studying sociology and minoring in human rights. Because I won the Chancellor's Scholarship at UMass, it allowed me to go to Cambodia. I was working at the Sihanouk Hospital Center of Hope. I was in the place of something horrible that had happened. I could either go home and kind of forget about that experience and kind of block it out, or I could do something so that things like that never happened again. UMass provides me with opportunities that I wouldn't get anywhere else and gives me a global perspective in a public setting. I definitely transformed at UMass.
Welcome back to Clark Athletic Center. I am John Skudras along with Seth Orensky. 1-0. The Polar Bears of Bowdoin on top over your UMass Boston Beacons. Let's take a look at the first set highlights here on the intermission show as UMass Boston in the first set getting off to a solid start defensively. Tiscareno with the block. As you see here early on, Bowdoin and UMass Boston went back and forth, Seth, in the first set. The Beacons really rose to the occasion early defensively, but then Bowdoin the rest of the way took care of business.
Yeah, I mean, we had 7 tie scores. The problem was the last tie score came at 15-15, and then that big run. Bowdoin did a really nice job of spreading the wealth. We talked about that. They had 4 different players with multiple kills and 6 total players with a kill amongst their 15. They hit 542. UMass Boston hit 200. That's the storyline right there. The Beacons need to tighten up their defense, and they need to up their confidence level. I saw seniors out there for UMass Boston who clearly were rethinking plays, who just weren't letting plays go. UMass Boston needs to settle in. This is their home gym. Yes, there's a lot of Bowdoin fans here, but you need to assert your home court advantage, and you need to play with confidence. There's a reason that you're off to the strong start that you're off to, and whether or not you have Rachel Maslach available, that shouldn't impact your ability to come out and compete with an upper-tier team.
Let's take a quick look around Beaconville as we get set for the first service here of set number 2. Earlier today, the women's soccer team won 2-0 at Western New England as they got off to a solid start on the weekend. Later on this afternoon, in a couple of minutes, men's soccer will take on SUNY Oneonta as part of that SUNY Oneonta Invitational. We are all set for the second set, and Bowdoin College and UMass Boston switching sides. Bowdoin now on the left side of your screen in black. Their libero, Sheldon, wearing white. And on the right side, also in black with the blue numbers, your UMass Boston Beacons with their libero, Michaela Kiyanko, wearing light blue. Beacons come out with Michaela, as well as Chepievska, Kamensk, Shi, Tiscareno, and Ava Campano. Meanwhile, for the visiting Polar Bears, they will counter with the combination of Danielle Abrams, number 8, Ashley Williams, the aforementioned Sheldon, Kaiser, who is serving, Sophia Paul, and Caroline Flaherty, as Kaiser sends this one over, dug out by Chepievska. Commons finds Amelia, and then unable to keep it inbounds was Amelia Chepievska. 1-0 Polar Bears.
Yeah, that's just Chepievska's first attack error of the day. The Beacons only had 1 for most of that first set, but they now have 4. They need a point, either this point or the next one, just to settle back in.
Tiscareno blocked up front. Good play. And almost getting the block again was Abrams, the 5'11" native of Santa Barbara, doing a good job defensively as Williams slams it down. Kept alive by Comets. Far side for Chepievska, dug out by Paul. And Abrams sees it sent right back at her as Tiscareno finally gets that block and the point for UMass Boston, 1-1.
Tremendous defensive volleyball, and a lot of it on that point was Bowdoin. They've done such a great job of extending points, and a big-time block from Tiscareno as the Beacons needed that one pretty bad.
Unable to get it over there was Flaherty as the setter Ashley Williams had to get it over, and the Beacons will get the point as she couldn't keep it in. So now the Beacons get the early advantage 2-1 as Chepievska back in the service area.
And now they just need to build on this a little bit. Put your service in here. Put the pressure on Bowdoin.
Dug out by Kiyanko, but set up in a tough position because that one went right to Abrams, and Danielle slams it home 2-2.
It's just a tough play for Michaela Kiyanko, unable to find her setter there, and a nice job executing for Bowdoin on the accidental over.
Back to serve now is Flaherty. Caroline out of Fort Myers, Florida, where the Red Sox have spring training, and she delivers there as Chepievska can't keep it in. It's 3-2 Polar Bears.
Chepievska was a little worried. Was that ball going to float long? She opened up her body to find the back line, and that caused her hands to get in too tight, and she got handcuffed on that one. Another defensive miscue for the Beacons.
Nice job there by Shi to rise up. Dug out by Sheldon. Flaherty blocked in front as the Beacons keep it alive. Eileen Shi, who has not had the impact through the first set, as this one is brought in. Nice overhand drive by Tiscareno, but keeping it in and getting the kill on the far side are the Polar Bears as they go back up by 2, 4-2.
Beacon staff right now is telling their players to calm down, but there's also a look of, how do we change this right now? Bowdoin is doing such a good job of extending points. The Beacons are pushing numbers forward, trying to get their swings, that they're not used to having these points extend as long as they're getting out of defensive position.
Great diving effort there by Paul. She kept it alive but was unable to get it to a teammate, and the Beacons back on the scoreboard. It's 4-3, and now Michaela back into serve again for the first time here in set number 2.
And this is a really good hitting lineup right now with Tiscareno, Doyle, and Shi. Let's see if the Beacons
as Michaela sends that over and out for an error.
Can do something with it, I was going to say, but now this group has to play some defense.
So now Abrams ready for her opportunity to serve. 5-3 Polar Bears, and Shepievska handcuffed by that one. She had to get it over, she did. Set up near side, blocked up front. Kaiser for Flaherty, far side for Paul. And great deceptive move by Paul. Thought she was going to come in hard, just tapped it over and got the point.
Decision-making for Bowdoin's been phenomenal. The Beacons had 2 of their better blockers lined up next to each other, ready for that ball down the line. What does the hitter do? A nice little soft tip off the block, and Carson Commons unable to get into position after the tip. And right now the Beacons are making mistakes, but also Bowdoin's forcing a lot of them, and the Beacons will use an early timeout here in set 1, just trying to keep this match from rolling away from them.
Eileen Shi unable to keep it in bounds as that one goes out past the end line, and it's 7-3 Polar Bears, who already lead 1-0. Kate Carlson has called a timeout. She wants to discuss things with her club, get their heads back in the match. We're going to get our heads back in it when we come back, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
So Kate Carlson discussing with her team the next steps here to try to get back into this match. John Scudras here along with Seth Orensky on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Service will be in favor of the Polar Bears when the Beacons get back on the court. Seth, what are you seeing so far?
The Beacons are going to make some tactical adjustments. They're going to try to find openings in Bowdoin, but at this point, to me, it's a more mental issue. UMass Boston is getting frustrated, and that's fair. Bowdoin is playing really good defense. They're keeping the ball from hitting the hardwood on some really good shots, but you have to keep your head up. I mean, that's been what I've seen at every single Beacons practice I've gone to, whether Terry Conant was the head coach or Michael Holohan was the head coach. You have to fight through adversity, and the Beacons have not done that well here. This is a 5-0 team. This is a team without one of their veteran leaders. Things haven't gone their way. Those aren't excuses when it comes to being in a match. Those aren't excuses the Beacons coaching staff are going to accept, and right now it's got to start with the leaders. I mean, you're seeing Kianko, Shi, Shepievska make some defensive mistakes they don't usually make. Those players have to improve, and I think it'll help out the freshmen who honestly aren't playing that bad.
Emily King delivers for Bowdoin as Kianko continues to struggle here in this match against Bowdoin. As the first 3 services went service error for Bowdoin, service error for UMass, and now an ace, as here we have an opportunity for the Beacons to bounce back. Service there from Emily King. And that slammed down, dug out far side by Birch. Kianko sets it up right in front. I believe that was Elliott who got her hands on it in front of Doyle. And then a good block up front by Doyle. As the Beacons see Flaherty slam it towards Kianko. Near side, she finally gets it inbounds off of the mitts of Emily King. And Eileen gets it as she may be warming up here in set number 2.
That's what the Beacons need to do. Nice dig from Kianko, found Elliott, really calmly looked for Shi, and she was able to knock that one through the block rather than going over or around.
Williams slams it home, dug out by Michaela. Eileen Shi sends it over. Sheldon with the dig. And then another great play by Sydney Soleil as Sydney delivers and puts the Polar Bears up 10-5.
Yeah, Doyle got there with the block, just unable to deflect it down, came off the side of her hands. Couldn't quite get the angle there, but I think the Beacons are showing a little bit better emotions and focus here over the last couple of points.
There is Doyle getting the job done. Set up there by Elliott as Campana will head in for Kianko with the Beacons down just 4. Doyle into the service area. Meanwhile, Sydney Birch, who came in leading the team, I believe, with 27 aces, doesn't have any yet so far. I believe she has 2 errors. She had one earlier on in this set. Sending it far side for Flaherty. Blocked up front. Good play from Chepievska. Birch setting it up Campania. She just misjudged it. And that is another one for the visiting Polar Bears.
Yeah, Campana was going up for the roll shot, and it just couldn't quite hit it the way she wanted. I like the defensive adjustment from Chepievska, recognizing Bowdoin's hitting a lot of soft shots. They're not trying to pound the ball down. She was able to get the block, but again, Bowdoin doing such a great job of keeping the ball off the hardwood.
Sheldon digs it out, so does Michaela. Has to get over the net, and it does from the midst of Chepievska. Elliott just taps it over. Sheldon, Kaiser, beautiful play. Second hit from Kaiser, and they fool the Beacons, putting it right in between 4 of the Beacons athletes, and it's 12-6.
It's kind of the way this match has gone. Elliott, I mean, it was a nice attempt at going over on 2, but Kaiser does the exact same thing and able to find pay dirt. Kaiser now with 2 kills, and the only difference between Elliott and Kaiser's move is Elliott goes with the deception of making it look like it's going to be a pass the entire way and does it slowly. Kaiser just turns it around and just immediately whacks it really quickly, hoping that the defense won't be set up.
And her hopes were answered as Commons barely gets it up over the net. Kaiser setting it up for Flaherty. Good block for UMass Boston as Tiscareno has done it again here in set 2. Her second block of this set. It's 12-8.
Well, if the Beacons have an advantage, it is on the block. They're a little bit taller. They have a little bit better jumpers on that front line. Maybe that's where they can gain an advantage.
Flaherty keeps it alive. Abrams gets it over. Michaela for comments. Near side, Chepievska. As Kaiser sees an opportunity for Abrams, and Danielle takes advantage. The Beacons misjudge the block, and it's 13-8 Polar Bears. As we'll get a substitution, taking a seat, Emily King, replaced by Ashley Williams, back into the match. And now here is Kate Kaiser out of Ingleside, Illinois. Serving to Chepievska, near side Campano. Sent over by Commons. Kaiser, good setup there for Williams, and the Beacons duo of Shi and Commons can't handle it.
Again, that lefty, the Beacons forced to use another timeout as Williams comes up with a swing. This is a really good teaching moment for the Beacons coaching staff. How do you get your team back into a match? I mean, the Beacons have not trailed all season long. The Beacons have lost a set here, a set there, but they haven't trailed in a match, and right now they're very much in peril of being down 2-0. Granted, I mean, this isn't a terrible loss. Bowdoin is also undefeated. Bowdoin is a very good team out of a very, very good conference, but in the end, how the Beacons react over the next set and a half, potentially an extra set if the Beacons can find a way back into this match, that's important because UMass Boston's going to always have 1 or 2 tough conference matches. If you do get into the NCAA tournament, you're going to face a good team. And right now, the Beacons have shown it a point or two of that not giving in mentality, but right now they need to come together as an entire team and fight a little bit harder. Bowdoin really hasn't had to take a punch from UMass Boston since it was 15-15 in the first set. Remember, the Polar Bears finished off that first set on a 10-1 run. Since it was 15-15, Bowdoin leads 24-9. That's not a good set worth of volleyball if you're UMass Boston.
There was 7 ties and 1 lead change in set 1. Not so much here in set 2. As you said, the Polar Bears have really grabbed momentum and ridden with it as Kaiser will begin out of the timeout. Trying to continue the momentum for Bowdoin. Dug out by Michaela. Comments setting up Shi, and this time Eileen takes a little off and is able to get it down. It's 14-9.
Really nice roll shot from Shi. Kianko got there in time, but her pass wasn't exactly where she wanted it. It brought Commons back, and she was forced to hit it from a harder spot, but the Beacons able to come up with the kill nonetheless.
Great play from Carson Commons to dig it out, and then sent right back from whence it came by Williams. Here's Eileen trying to get it done. It's deflected. I think that was deflected. Yes, it was. So UMass Boston gets the point, and Eileen is heating up here in the second half of set 2.
And you see the Beacons' reaction both on the bench and on the floor. They're hyped about that. That's a huge point. It's a 2-point swing there. The Beacons back within 4. Can they make this a 3, 4, 5-point run?
Chepievska serving. Great hesitation. What an effort from Michaela, but was unable to put it in the field of play. And because of that, point to Bowdoin, and service back to the Polar Bears.
That was a great pancake from Kianko in a difficult spot right below the ladder there of the up official. UMass Boston is certainly playing a little bit harder right now than they were at the end of that first set.
Flaherty serving. Here's Chepievska sending it back, dug out by Kaiser. Sheldon back to Flaherty, and beautiful shot from Flaherty as she kills it right in between both Chepievska and Commons, back to 16-10.
Good shot. Neither player was quite ready for it, but really it split those two players' defensive responsibilities, and that's typically going to cause some miscommunication.
Bianco digs it out for Commons, and Tiscareno rising up to slam it down as UMass back in action, down by 5.
Tiscareno is such a good pickup for this Beacons team. They had a really strong second middle hitter last year in Ariana Cassingle, but Tiscareno brings a little bit more offense and is also a very competent blocker. And Cassingle saw her a lot in that first match. She's a very good third middle because she has played a lot. It just gives the Beacons even more options offensively.
Eileen Shi delivers. She's got 3 now here in set number 2. And the Beacons have narrowed it again down to 4. And as you said, Tiscareno out of El Paso, Texas. She has been outstanding through the first 5.5 games of this campaign. Kianko, however, has struggled in service today, and it continues back to the Polar Bears.
Yeah, that's already 7 service errors for the Beacons. Bowdoin has 6 of their own, but if you're struggling in other areas, that's an area you can't afford to keep giving away points.
Sloppy for sure as Abrams gets it over on the service. Near side for Eileen, and she continues to heat up as Eileen, as hot as the Golden Coast, where she hails from, as the Beacons back down 4, 17-13.
Well, the Beacons are really just going to Shi right now. They know a lot of their other options aren't working. She has 8 kills. The Beacons as a team have 16. We talked about spreading the wealth offensively. Well, right now the Beacons are just going to the well.
And that's out on the Polar Bears. So the Beacons bouncing back. They've narrowed it to 3. The lowest margin here since the early portions of set number 2, and that was Sydney Birch, who's back out there in the service area. Sydney's so prolific as a service specialist, but she struggled today. Maybe she's heating up much like Eileen. Far side, Paul keeps it alive for Flaherty. Flaherty up and over, dug out by Chepievska. Far side, slammed down there, but unable to get it down was Doyle. And a good block up front on the Paul opportunity. Beacons now pressured in their own area as Chepievska cannot get it over on the setup from Birch.
Oh, you got exactly what you wanted. You got the over. You looked like you had the great setup. The Beacons unable to knock it down. Bowdoin extends it, and then Chepievska behind the 6-meter line, unable to put it down. This Bowdoin team just frustrates you. They're like a really good defensive team in baseball where you think you have an infield single that's knocked away, or a really good football team. It's honestly hard. It's so difficult mentally to play against a team like this because what's typically a kill against a lot of teams, and maybe you're already excited to start celebrating, you can't. You have to wait to see it hit the hardwood because they're so good at extending plays.
Good right there as the Polar Bears get back the 4-point lead, as I believe that was Soleil who will get credit for it. Moments ago it was Eileen Shi again getting another point for the Beacons, as here's Elliott setting it up. Good setup there for Doyle, but good dig from Sheldon, who's been outstanding today. Elliott sending it up for Eileen, dug out in the back by Flaherty. And then that one slammed down. Actually, it was Paul who dug it out, and Flaherty who kills it. And it's 20-15 Polar Bears.
Bowdoin's doing a great job of finding their spots. That was a tremendous cross-court shot. Beacon stretched a little bit thin on the near side. Chepievska was tight to the net. Kiyanko had to cover a ton of room, and you couldn't quite get there.
Service there from Paul, and right out of bounds it comes right off of Sydney Birch, and Paul delivers again. So multifaceted is Sophia Paul, the outside hitter from Cedarburg, Wisconsin. And a 6-point lead here in set number 2. She keeps it alive for Elliott. Elliott near side, and Chepievska drives it home right in front of Paul this time. Beacon's back within 5 as Campano will step in for Kiyanko.
UMass Boston doesn't need to win this set, but they need to take 5-6 more points, put some pressure on Bowdoin. Give yourself something to hang your hat on here in the second set, going into the third set if they're going to get back into this match. And again, these service aces are killers when you're down 5, when you're down 6, especially later on in the set. You can't have them. It's okay if you're up a couple points, you're in a tight match, but Beacons just cannot afford service errors when you're down 5 that late in the set.
Good save from Chepievska on the setup by Elliott. Sheldon gets it over. She for Christina. Chepievska, good dig. Getting down low is King. And now Paul gets it over. Birch to Elliott. And there we go. Ava Campano delivers for the Beacons, getting her first of the day. And it's a 5-point game with a substitution as Tiscareno will check on in, as will Carson Comets.
It's one of the rare times the Beacons have been able to take a free ball and actually turn it into a point. Bowdoin does such a great job of giving up free balls, but then defensively keeping themselves in points.
Near side, Abrams misjudged it on the setup from Kaiser, and now the Beacons seeing the Polar Bears commit a few self-inflicted errors. It's down to 4 again, 22-18. Comets back to serve for the second consecutive time as she gets it up and over. Dug out by King. Kaiser, Michaela Kiyanko, Comets far side, and the Beacons back within 3 for just the second time since early on in this set. It's 22-19.
And this is really interesting. If I'm the Bowdoin coaching staff, I'm calling a timeout right now. They've scored 3 points in a row, but Bowdoin, remember, they haven't lost the set right now, so their coaching staff is using this as a chance to evaluate how is my team going to react to some controversy.
Erin Cady, the head coach for Bowdoin, on the sideline as this volley goes back and forth. Flaherty lobs it up and over. Here's Kiyanko, and Campano partially blocked by Kaiser. Abrams got it over, dug out by Shi. Comets sets it up, and the Beacons are back within 2 as UMass Boston has cut it to 22-20. Amelia Chepievska delivers here in set number 2. And we will see, as you said, Seth, a timeout by the Polar Bears.
Erin Cady finally got up, but she does not use her timeout. Calls out an offensive play, maybe one of their go-tos, and it leads to a kill. But I'm really impressed with Erin Cady's nerves of steel right now. A lot of coaches, as soon as that mini run starts, they'll call the timeout, but she trusted in her team.
Well, they haven't lost a set all year, so why not? As it looked like she was getting set to call a timeout. Instead, she just calls a new formation, and just like that, it's 23-20. Kaiser with the service. Comets sends it right back for Amelia. Dug out by Sheldon. Going to be a tough play as Flaherty gets it over. Campano, Comets for Shi. And that was easy to play for Sheldon. Abrams, hesitation as gets it over. Partially deflected by Tiscareno, but Amelia can't keep it in. And UMass Boston, who got it down to 2, is now facing set point.
Well, Chepievska's first swing on that particular point looked like it was going to be a kill for sure. Another great dig by Sheldon, who has really shown well in this match, already up to 14 digs in less than 2 sets.
Kiyanko keeps the set alive, and Tiscareno gets the job done for UMass Boston as coming up and over the net there to defend her. It's one of the Polar Bears. It's 24-21. Now here's Chepievska back into the service area. Now service error could be catastrophic for UMass Boston as they are down to their final point of the set. 24-21, she gets it over. Sheldon digs it out. Kaiser, far side, and hammering it down. Williams, dug out by Shi. Chepievska looking back for Eileen, and Eileen sees it deflected right back to her on a beautiful play from Ashley Williams. And the Polar Bears of Bowdoin College with a 25-21 victory in set 2 as they have taken a 2-0 series lead here in this volleyball match.
I actually liked the end of this set, though, for UMass Boston. They were able to keep it even. I think those last 10 points went 5-5, maybe even 6-4 in favor of UMass Boston. The Beacons showed a better reaction to how Bowdoin's playing. This is going to be tough. This is the best team UMass Boston's played by far. I didn't see the first 4 matches, but from what I've gathered talking to some of the Beacons players, and it comes down to, I mean, yes, you have to be a little bit more precise with your passing. Yes, the Beacons need to do a better job defensively on their service receptions, but it also comes down to just mentally rising to the occasion. These seniors, that's where it starts, and we saw it with Eileen Shi. She struggled the first set plus, and then she came out and she started swinging better. Marcelle Tiscareno needs to just get mentally back in. She is one of the best liberos in the entire New England region, but has not shown that way. And I think a couple of the other Beacons leaders need to step up and win this set. You don't have to win this match, but win this set, make it a bit more respectable, and recognize the fact that you're also a very strong volleyball program.
UMass Boston trailing 2-0 as we head to set number 3. Let's go to a commercial break. When we come back, we will take a look at the Lilies Conference scoreboard and highlights of set number 2 between UMass Boston and Bowdoin College.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Along with Seth Arensky, I'm John Skudris. Beacons and the Polar Bears, 2-0, Bowdoin through 2 sets. Let's take a look at the highlights here on the intermission report, and it begins with who else? Tiscareno, as Marcelle has played so well defensively up front for much of this game. Another block for Tiscareno as she gets the Beacons off to a solid start, but in the end, Bowdoin was able to bounce back. We've seen the Polar Bears just playing with a little more polish as Abrams slams that one home in front of Marcelle Tiscareno. Eileen Shi, who had struggled, as you said, for the first set and really a quarter of this match. You see here set up on the far side from Elliott, slamming that one home and unable to handle it was King. And then as we continue, a soft point here from Bowdoin. They get that one up and over as they continue to extend their lead. At that point, it was 12-7. And then here come the Beacons back as Tiscareno, another beautiful block up front. Really, if it wasn't for Marcella, it would be a really slow start for the Beacons through the first 2 sets. And that one slammed down. Beautiful play by UMass Boston. I believe that was Doyle getting the kill. And Eileen Shi then coming back off another setup to get her second kill of the set, slamming that one down right in front of Flaherty. And then Bowdoin bounces back as Bowdoin is able to, really for the most part, while they let the Beacons get back into it, they did a good job of maintaining a 2 or 3 point lead for the duration of the set. Amelia Chepievska getting the kill on this volley as she is set up on the far side there by Comets. And then Campano wrapping up our highlights here in set number 2 as she will get her first kill of the day right there, slamming it down in front of a couple of defenders. And that's the way we sit right now with the score 2-0, Polar Bears.
Well, John, just a couple stats to look at. That second set, Bowdoin hit just 250 after hitting 542 in the first set. Beacons 195, so still getting out hit, but a much more respectable number. The other thing, the service, it hasn't been where the Beacons need it to be. 2 service aces versus 8 errors. Bowdoin has made 6 errors, but they do have 5 aces, a much better number. You talked about the block. Tiscareno has 3 solo blocks. The rest of the team has 0. You need a little bit more out of Sarah Doyle, Amelia Chepievska, Eileen Shi, as the Beacons have more total blocks than Bowdoin, 3-2, but they're not getting enough of production. The other thing is Bowdoin just continuing to spread it around. Sophia Paul has 10 kills, but 5 other players with multiple kills. That's been the Beacons' big issue. They haven't been able to stop Paul, and they haven't been able to stop the other hitters either. You kind of have to pick or choose if you're going to have a chance to win this match.
And the Polar Bears off to a good start here in set 3 as that one came out off of Commons. And so service now for Flaherty. 1-0 Bowdoin College, leading 2-0. They will try to move to 5-0 without losing a single set on the season if they win this one. And they're off to another good start as Kianko got crossed up trying to move to her right, unable to dig it out. It's 2-0. We'll get you the Little East Conference scoreboard later on, maybe at a timeout here on this set, as the Beacons obviously have not yet played an LEC battle, as the Beacons trying to avoid their first loss of the 2018 season. Chepievska gets it up and over, dug out by Abrams. Kaiser sets it up right in the middle for Williams, dug out by Eileen. Far side, Campano Kept alive by Sheldon. Far side now for Williams. Perfect pass. Perfect job by Williams. She hits it up and over and taps it right over Campano and in front of Kianko. And the Polar Bears off to a 3-0 lead.
That's a perfect play. I mean, it's so difficult for Kianko to see the tip there with her. She has two players jumping in front of her, and Williams did such a nice job of not telegraphing it. This Bowdoin team making a lot of really nice decisions.
That one up into the catwalks off of Flaherty, and somehow they keep it alive. What an effort. On the far side, Chepieska dug out by Paul. Kaiser back for Abrams, and the Beacons somehow keep it alive. Great effort by Campano. Kianko got it back over. Kaiser, and that's a beautiful shot by Abrams as Danielle puts it in a perfect spot in the corner of the court. It's 4-0, and the Polar Bears aren't letting up.
I don't even know if Abrams necessarily meant to hit that shot. It looked like she mistimed it a little bit, didn't get quite all of it, and it ended up being a perfect roll shot. Beacons used their timeout. This was about the last thing that UMass Boston wanted. So right now the Beacons setters, their positional players are meeting. Rather than a team as a group, you have the three middles who are talking, you have the outside hitters who are in a conversation, the 5 liberos or DSs, and then the Beacons 5 setters. I've never seen this before, but it's an interesting take. Let's see positionally what the players on the bench are seeing. How can we fix this? It's not just a team thing. How can we at each of our positions out there in the court do a better job of managing the things that we're supposed to do?
Absolutely. Can we take a look at the LEC scoreboard? As we see on your screen, Southern Maine, who actually, I believe, lost to Bowdoin earlier this year, beats Fitchburg State 3-0. We have no score from East Con against Westfield State. Finals from Con College, they sweep WestCon 3-0, and Bay Path takes care of Castleton 3-0.
Yeah, I think Castleton's going to be strong in a couple of the sports in the LAC this year. Their men's soccer team and women's soccer team both had really good seasons a year ago. Their volleyball team, I think they're going to be towards the bottom of the conference from some of their early results.
Flaherty serving up 4-0 out of the timeout as Comets finds Chepieska, dug out by Flaherty. Kaiser back for Caroline as Comets keeps it alive. Campano's going to be a real tough play and no chance for the Beacons as Chepieska had all her momentum heading towards the bench. It's 5-0 Bowdoin College.
Yeah, no one's taking charge out there. She and Chepieska kind of looked at each other. They both tried to make the play, but a little bit of indecision made it so that neither player was really going to get there.
And Flaherty, a rare error here today. A rare error here today out of the service area. Rare error from me as well. 5-1 now as the Beacons are on the board. Dug out by Sheldon. Kaiser. Good block in front. Tiscareno, yet somehow they kept it alive for the moment as Kaiser and Flaherty combined. But Tiscareno again, another solo block as she continues to excel up front for UMass Boston.
I'm almost stunned that ball didn't get back over. That's how good Bowdoin has been at scrambling effectively defensively.
Beacons trying to get back in this set as Campano dug out by Flaherty. Near side for Paul. Kept alive, Chepieska. Mikhailo and Chepieska looking at each other. Luckily, Kianko able to regain her composure as Chepieska keeps it alive. Kamensk still keeps it alive and up into the stands goes Campano as she almost was able to get there and get it back over, but it's 6-2.
That play, you're honestly more worried about player safety than anything else. Kamensk dove right at the stands. If she doesn't get her head up there, she's going head into the bottom of the stands. Unfortunately, she does. And realistically, obviously you love the hustle, but Beacons would really hate to lose any of their players right now to an injury, especially on a play like that.
Comments far side for Shi. Beautiful block up front. And that was a great effort made by Soleil as Sydney continues to play well up front, 7-2. Service now to Abrams as Danielle steps into the match again. 7-2 Bowdoin as they look to complete their 5th consecutive sweep to start the year. That is out, and an error on Abrams. So the Beacons get another point, 7-3. Stepping on in is Doyle. We have not seen Casey Shea yet in this match. She played a bit against UMPI. Another one of the Beacons 6'2" inchers as Kianko avoids the error here. Kaiser setting it up for Williams. Good block from Doyle, and the Beacons back in it, down 3.
So there you've got a too many touches on Bowdoin. Can the Beacons mount this run? Can they actually put together a run of longer than 2 points? Because that's what they've been pretty much limited to over the last set plus. Bowdoin will give them 2, but they won't give them anything more.
Paul got her blast partially blocked. Now here's Shi, set up by Commons. Good block, kept alive by Tiscareno. Back to the Beacons up front. That was Doyle. Kaiser setting up Williams. Beautiful blast and a shot as that one goes out of bounds. Just barely. Very close. The Beacons now within 2.
Wow. I'm stunned that didn't go Bowdoin's way. I thought it not only hit the back line, I thought it also might have caught a bit of the jersey of a Beacon trying to get out of the way of that particular kill.
As that one just clips the top of the net from Kiyanko's service. Paul blocked in front, and the Beacons right back in it here in set number 3, and they are within 1 for the first time since, other than being 1-0 after 1 point in a set, I would say since the first set.
Well, the breaks are finally going the Beacons' way. You have that one go just barely out, and that time the block lands right on the white. Now can the Beacons take advantage of this and put a little bit of pressure on Bowdoin?
Bowdoin hasn't used a single timeout today. They haven't really had to, and now they're going to re-extend their lead to 2 as, again, the Beacons get close, but they can't even it up. And we'll get a substitution as King will come on back in for Williams. It's 8-6. It's not over until it's over. If Bowdoin can get to 25 here, it is, as the Beacons will try to get back in it. Good rising up play there by Doyle. And a good block up front from Shi. I believe Eileen's the one who got her mitts on that. Back to 1, 8-7, as Birch and Elliott will check in.
Yeah, Shi and Tiscareno in there together on the block. That's a big one as the Beacons, I think that's the first time they've actually had 2 players combine on a block that was successful. Love to see the Beacons get a few more swings for Sarah Doyle. Just 1 kill on the day. That's not enough if the Beacons are going to be successful.
Chapiesko, right place, right time to save that one. And there we go as Eileen Shi has evened it up. We are tied at 8 here in set number 3.
10th kill on the day for Eileen. She and Sophia Paul, the only players in double figures.
So here is Sydney Birch serving for the second consecutive time. Dug out by King. Kaiser setting it up for Flaherty. And Caroline drives it home as the Polar Bears back up by 1.
Well, for a bunch of Polar Bears, they're very sure-handed. It's just so impressive. We've seen the Beacons make some uncharacteristic mistakes, but Bowdoin just doesn't make mistakes on their serve receive. They've done a tremendous job of not only making the plays, but also making the plays and then making really good passes to set up their offense.
Sophia Paul, the outside hitter, committing the error in service there. It's now 9-9 as Eileen Shi is back to serve. And that was a nice serve dug out by Sheldon. Kaiser going back towards Soleil. Beacons keep it alive. That's Eileen. Kaiser looking near side for Paul. Deflected. Kiyanko to Elliott. Going far side. Chapieska. Good dig there by Paul. Flaherty blocked in front by Elliott. Beacons trying to get their first lead of this set. And keeping it alive there was Birch. Kaiser. Far side for Soleil. And that one comes out of bounds. And the Beacons, for the first time, have the lead.
But, John, think about how hard the Beacons had to work on that point. You start with a tremendous save from Eileen Shi that is somehow kept up. Then you had 3 good swings that looked like they could lead to kills. It took the Beacons 5 chances before they were finally able to earn that point.
Perseverance pays off as Flaherty sees Elliott tip it to Kiyanko, and now there is Shi getting it over. Kaiser, and there it is again. Oh, man alive, she continues to deceive as she puts it over on the second touch, and just like that, we're tied up again at 10. As Kaiser has really opened up my eyes today. She has played exquisitely.
Well, she has 3 kills, all 3 the exact same play, going over on 2, not a traditional swing, and that's a huge spot where senses her team needs a little bit of help, and immediately the Beacons fooled. The Beacons have not been prepared for the play of Kaiser, who's not a big-time hitter, only about 10, 11 kills on the year, but very effective hitter, hitting over 500.
Beacons back on top, as unable to get it over there was Flaherty. It's 11-10 as Doyle will serve. Doyle, Birch, Shi, Chapieska, Elliott and Campano out there for UMass Boston as Flaherty finds the hole between both Doyle and Elliott. What a shot. Substitution for both teams as Doyle steps out for Michaela Kianko, and coming on out will be King, and she will be replaced by Williams. Here's Kaiser to serve, and good eye there from Burt. She let that one go, thought she might be second-guessing herself, but a good job, and we are back on top are the Beacons, 12-11, as more substitutions. Kamensk back in, as is Tiscareno.
Bowdoin has already committed 4 service errors in this set alone. They're up to 10 on the match. Certainly helping the Beacons out here as they have yet to commit a service error in this third set.
Near side Williams, so dangerous, but too much on that one. And the Beacons have a 2-point lead for the first time in this match.
And Erin Cady, I think, is going to use it. First time today. So we'll see what kind of reaction Bowdoin gets, because this is interesting. The Beacons, they've had 1 or 2 timeouts where they've come out with renewed energy, but they've had a couple timeouts where Bowdoin just kept pushing the momentum. Can the Beacons do the same to Bowdoin here? Can they extend this lead out? A lot of times after timeouts, you see a service error. It's natural. You had to sit on the bench for a minute and a half. Can the Beacons get this service in, first and foremost, and then come up with a point? Maybe come up with 2, extend the lead to 4, really put the pressure on Bowdoin. And I love this. I think it's the first time the Beacons have ever done this. Maybe they do this on the road sometimes. But these positional meetings before the Beacons go into their full huddle, I love the concept, and I think that it's worked a little bit here late in the second set and now in the third.
Well, the Beacons have battled back. They're still down 2 sets, but they lead by 2 here in set 3, trying to stay alive and force a 4th set against the undefeated Bowdoin College Polar Bears. We'll go to a quick break when we come back. The conclusion of set number 3 right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Teams out of their respective huddles. Beacons on the left side of your screen serving. Here's Carson Kamensk. Up by 2. Kamensk delivers, dug out by Sheldon. Kaiser goes behind her to Abrams. Beautiful play. And the Beacons out of position there as it's back to a 1-point game.
Well, it's almost as if Abrams went up the ladder. She was able to climb an extra rung and get above the Beacons block and then just tip it down. Really nice play from Bowdoin out of the timeout as Katie's had to use a certain set or a certain look a couple of times today to get her team out of a little bit of a rut. And Bowdoin doing exactly what you want out of a timeout, coming up with a little bit of a run.
Yeah, absolutely. That timeout certainly worked out for Coach Erin Cady as she sees her team even it up. Flaherty back in to serve as she sends it over, dug out by Michaela, and that is 3 consecutive relatively easy points now for the visiting Bowdoin College Polar Bears.
Well, that one, I'm just wondering if there's something that Caroline Flaherty's doing on her service that we can't see up top, because it didn't look like that difficult of a service receive. And for one reason or another, the Beacons' service receive has just not been as crisp as they've been all season long.
And Tiscareno has been crisp as a cucumber here in this match. One of the few for the Beacons as she delivers to even things up at 14.
Yeah, Tiscareno now one of 3 Beacons with 5 or more kills. The problem is Tiscareno, Eileen Shi, and Amelia Chepievska have 21 combined kills. The rest of the roster has 2.
15-14 now, and the ace there from Chepievska. Beacons trying to keep this match alive. Chepievska dug out by Sheldon. Kaiser for Flaherty, blocked in front, and who else? Marcelle Tiscareno continues to excel up front for UMass Boston.
Beacons are just playing with a different kind of energy. The bench is trying to get even louder to support their teammates. It's the best the Beacons have looked probably since the first 10 or 15 points of this entire match.
Kaiser near side for Paul. Chepievska comments to Shi, blocked in front and out of bounds. So the Beacons continuing the run. It was muted momentarily out of the timeout by Coach Katie's Polar Bears, but since the Beacons saw Chepievska step into the service area, they have rolled to a 3-point lead and another timeout for the Polar Bears.
I love it. I love the fact that the Beacons are up their energy. We talked about one of the keys is minimizing the runs. Well, a nice job by the Beacons. And right now, with Bowdoin out of timeouts, if you can add even 1 point here before Bowdoin gets a side out, make it 2. You're up by 5. You only need 6 left. Bowdoin hasn't been in this situation all season long, and that's a positive. If you can take this third set, all of a sudden, Beacons are here at home. Bowdoin starts to question themselves a little bit. If you can extend that match to 5, then Bowdoin's in real trouble. But obviously the biggest thing is you still have 8 points to get in this third set. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. UMass Boston needs to keep doing what they're doing. High energy, better defense, better passing, and that's what's been the key here in the third set.
Let's take a look at a replay of that Tiscareno kill that we just saw that put the Beacons up by 3. And you see she's been excellent defensively and now showing her prowess offensively, rising up as Marcelle Tiscareno.
Also a big time. She has a lot of claps and a lot of dancing skills that she showed on media day.
Yeah, we got a chance to see that instead of the kill.
Well, we saw part of the kill. We're still working out some new technical things here on the BBN. We'll figure it out.
Here we go out of the timeout. 17-14. As that one is dug out by Sheldon. As Paul is game to deliver out of the timeout. She gets the kill off of the mitts of Ava Campano, and just like that, 2-point game again.
Well, why not? You're struggling a little bit. You need something to go right. Go back to Sophia Paul, who now has 13 kills on the day.
As that service by Abrams dug out. Far side for Eileen. Danielle doing a good job keeping it alive as Williams sees that partially blocked up front. Comments for Campano. And the duo on the near side unable to get it done. It's back to 1.
I love the hustle there from Comments, recognizing I have a chance to get this ball. Let me make the set. But if Campano is the one setting there, that ball comes across. You're not going to get maybe a great swing, but you're going to keep the point alive. Comments has to recognize that on that particular play because she gave Campano 0 chance of putting the ball across the net.
Eileen Shi from the setup by Comments, kept alive by Kaiser. Carson for Michaela. Far side for Eileen. Dug out by Abrams, but that's going to come out of bounds, so the Beacons re-extend their lead to 2.
Well, Abrams has been tremendous defensively, but that's one of those balls that's almost undiggable. Eileen hits it with so much power that all Abrams could do was keep it up and immediately comes back across the net, but out of balance, fortunately for the Beacons.
Here is Michaela Kianko from the service area. Dug out there by Flaherty. Tipped up front, blocked by Shi. Kaiser near side for Paul. Deflected and in. What a play. As that one barely kept alive. It's 18-17. And a substitution is coming back in as King for Williams.
Remember, the Beacons still have a timeout. They used one early when they were down 3 or 4-0. But the Beacons have one in their back pocket. Kate Carlson is thinking about it right now. But that's one that you can save if you get late in this set, down a point or 2.
And she's going to call it right now. 18-18, timeout UMass Boston as the Beacons and the Polar Bears going back and forth here in set number 3 as UMass Boston tries to keep their hopes alive here against the undefeated Bowdoin College Polar Bears. Let's go to a commercial when we come back. The exciting conclusion of this, set number 3, with Bowdoin College leading 2-0 right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Welcome back as out of the timeout, it'll be service for the visiting Polar Bears. As dug out by Chepievska. As Tiscareno got it up and over. Kaiser far side. And that is Soleil. As Comments find Shi blocked but into the net. And UMass Boston is back on top 19-18 as Birch and Elliott will check in.
I love the confidence of Marcelle Tiscareno. She did not get the first swing anywhere the way she wanted it. I mean, she had a disgusted look on her face. Kept with the play, able to get the dig, finds her setter, and the Beacons get the point to take the lead right back.
Here's Birch just getting it over the net. Kaiser from Sheldon for Soleil. Birch to Elliott, setting it up for Shi. Good keep there from Flaherty. Far side, Chepievska. Christina behind her, and Doyle just way too much on that one as it comes out and we're tied again.
Elliott took her too far outside. She floated that set. That's got to be closer to Doyle, and Doyle has a chance to put it down. A bad mistake for the Beacons on a free ball. You have to get a good swing when the opponents give you the easy free ball rather than having to dig it out.
19-19. Michaela for Elliott. Far side for Eileen. Beautiful job by Eileen Shi, getting it right in front of the excellent libero Sheldon. And the Beacons lead it again.
Yeah, the Beacons actually got lucky there. Sheldon was ready to dig that out, but the block took a piece of it, slowed the ball down, and it didn't quite reach her.
Now Eileen from service. Dug out by Sheldon. Oh, what a block from Doyle! She rises up and puts it right back into the face of Kaiser. And the Beacons are back up 2.
Well, Sarah's had a pretty quiet match, but she's picked it up in the block category. It's block number 3 for her.
Beacons doing everything they can to force this to a 4th set. As that is a beautiful spike there from Flaherty as she found the hole in the defense, 21-20.
But now you just need to get a side out if you're UMass Boston. You know that Sheldon's one of their better servers. Get a good serve receive, set up Christina Elliott for a good pass, and get the side out right back.
Both Birch and Shi went after it. Elliott, beautiful play. Beacons, though, see the Polar Bears answer back. Elliott to the far side. Chepievska, that's in! UMass Boston back up 2, 22-20.
Now it's UMass Boston who's extending these plays defensively. A great job, a great effort there by Kiyanko to get it across. And then Elliott, a tremendous job to get over there and make the block. Otherwise, there was a ton of space over there on the far side.
Here is Doyle serving. Dug out far side by King. Kaiser for Flaherty, blocked in front. King keeps it alive. Abrams over. Doyle for Elliott. Far side. Campano is down. And another point for UMass Boston as they extend their lead to 3, 23-20. The Beacons have not had a 4-point lead yet in this match.
And you have to wonder how Bowdoin is mentally dealing with this right now. I mean, this is as close as they've been to losing a set all season long, and there's a very rare miscue by King, one of their service specialists. She turns the hands the wrong way, the way we saw the Beacons do pretty much all of set 2 and late in set 1. Now we see Bowdoin having to deal with a bit of the nerves that the Beacons showed early in this match.
And now set point for the first time for UMass Boston is Doyle serving, dug out by Sheldon. Kaiser here for Flaherty, blocked in front, and UMass Boston will avoid the sweep and hand the Bowdoin College Polar Bears their first set defeat of the 2018 season. The final score here in set number 3, the Beacons 25, the Polar Bears 20, and what a comeback from the way this set began, and what perseverance from UMass Boston with where they were in this match.
Well, it comes down to 2 things right now. First off, the block has finally showed up. The Beacons with 10 blocks as a team, Bowdoin with just 3. The second thing is the Beacons tightened up defensively, held Bowdoin to a 0-64 margin in that third set after they hit 542 in the first set and 250 in the second set. So that's tremendous. And the Beacons actually hitting a match high 231. So the Beacons are starting to get back into this match. Big thing here for set 4 for both of these sides. How do you start? You can't afford to get into a 5-0, 6-0 hole. Now, the Beacons came back from 5-0 in that third set, but you don't want to do that to yourself or your coach. So see how these two teams respond. UMass Boston has their first high of this match. Bowdoin dealing with that first set loss, but I don't think Bowdoin's going to go down quietly.
Let's go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the third set highlights as well as a look ahead at what's to come for UMass Boston. It's 2-1 Bowdoin right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Beacons trailing Bowdoin College 2-1, but still alive as we head to the 4th set. Let's take a look at the highlights of set number 3 here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. And early on, as you said, Seth, the Beacons got off to an inauspicious start, falling behind 5-0. We pick it up 7-5 in set 3 with the Beacons making their way back, and it's the block up front there that got the Beacons within 1. Bowdoin then bouncing back to re-extend their lead to 3 there, getting it right in between a couple of Beacons, including Shepieska. And then the soft kill here from Kaiser, who continues to dominate up front. But then we saw Tiscareno and company, Eileen Shi and Sarah Doyle bounce back.
Well, I love the fact that the Beacons started spreading it out offensively. Shepieska, 7 kills, 3 kills for Ava Campano, 5 kills for Marcelle Tiscareno. They still need Sarah Doyle more involved offensively. She got involved on the block. Of course, she has the 14 kills. The Beacons, though, seen a lot of kills, but also the block, so important to the Beacons' effort, and that was a big one. Campano, one of these freshmen who they're being thrown into the fire because of Rachel Maslak's injury. I mean, the one thing that I will say is Ava Campano is earning herself some extra playing time because she might be the player who loses some time to Rachel Maslak when Maslak comes back from an injury. But Campano is showing that she can play right away, and that's big for UMass Boston, having 2 freshmen in their starting lineup.
Sarah Doyle getting that final ace in the highlight. And a great transition for UMass Boston as the Beacons now down 2-1, still alive, heading to set 4. The teams switch sides as in black and white on the left side of your screen are the Polar Bears. In black and blue on the right are the Beacons. Polar Bears begin with service.
For the match, Bowdoin is now hitting 234, the Beacons at 215. Beacons with 4 aces to 8 service errors, but no service errors in that third set. Bowdoin had 6 of them. Rather, 4 of them, 10 total for the match. So that was a big reason why the Beacons were able to come away with the victory. And another slow start to a set, but the Beacons showed in the last set not necessarily how you start.
No, it isn't. It's how you finish as the Beacons down 1-0 here in set 4 as Campano, who finished strong in set 3, sees it dug out there by Paul as Kianko kept it alive. That's coming out of bounds. And just like set 3, the Beacons behind early. It's 2-0.
But the energy level is there. The communication is there. Carson Comments, one of the Beacons captains, out on the court shouting out instructions.
As that service by Kaiser, dug out by Michaela. Far side, and that one is in, they say. What a blast from Tiscareno as Marcella continuing to excel here on Beaconville.
That was right at that back white line. I thought it was a bit deep. So did the entire Bowdoin bench that had quite a few looks of dejection and maybe a little bit of disgust. The Beacons catch a break.
Eileen Shi not getting the break there. Shows up for the block, but unable to keep it in. It's 3-1 as Flaherty serving again. She's excelled today in that facet. Comments behind for Campano, who has continued to play better here in the second half of this match. And she gets it. It's 3-2.
Nice job by Ava there. There was only one player in the back line as Bowdoin was a little bit out of position, and Campano picked a corner, had a ton of space in that back right corner.
Kayla Kiako to serve. Dug out by Paul. Kaiser for Williams, partially blocked up front. Michaela far side. Cheprievska. And they're going to say she was out of bounds.
No, I think they don't quite know what infraction Sarah Doyle made, but again, Sarah Doyle needs better sets. That set needs to take Sarah Doyle to the net. Instead, she had to back off of it. And UMass Boston's 2 setters just need to give their junior middle a little bit better looks to get her going.
And that again was Marcelle Tiscareno from El Paso, Texas, who gets the kill, and she continues to be one of the leaders both offensively and defensively today as she will check out along with Carson Commons.
I mean, I would say Marcelle's had the best match for UMass Boston. You expect Eileen Shi to put up big numbers, and she didn't have the greatest start.
I believe, they're going to say out? Well, we're from up here. It looked good to me, but then again, a few that went our way didn't, as that is an error by Birch, who has struggled a bit today.
Well, I think part of it is, and this is not to take anything away from Sydney, competition level, it's tougher here against Bowdoin. Bowdoin's not going to make some of the same mistakes that some of the other teams have done. She had 6 aces earlier on in the day against Maine Presque Isle.
As that one will come out off of both Kianko and Shi. And the Beacons now trailing 6-3.
But have to give a shout out to Birch, who's playing behind Kianko, who's one of the best liberos in the region. You're going to get playing time. You have to work, and she's worked so hard on her service to earn a spot in the rotation.
As now Kaiser setting it up far side for Paul, and that one comes out but deflected. And UMass Boston now trails 7-3. Yeah, like you said, Sydney Birch just a junior, so next year, once Michaela is no longer wearing Beacons blue, she will likely see her role expand as we get a timeout. UMass Boston with the Beacons trailing at 7-3.
I think you have to take this timeout right now. Can't let Bowdoin extend it to 5 or 6 points. And again, the message is the energy has to pick up. That's when UMass Boston has played their best volleyball thus far. And right now, to start this set, it's been a little bit of lackluster for this Beacons team as they continue to meet in these 4 different little circles before huddling up, and I think it's brilliant. I don't know about anybody at home, but positional grouping and positional conversations are so huge when you have a player. I mean, you talk about quarterbacks always meet in football, and point guards typically meet with coaches separately in basketball. I think talking specifically to the players who do the same thing with you at practice every day might give you better insight than meeting as an entire team.
After they meet individually, they meet in front of their coach, Kate Carlson, and now they are back out onto the court. UMass Boston trailing 7-3 in set 4, trailing 2-1 in this match. As the Beacons will be back at it later on this week as they'll hit the road for 3 straight. And we are underway here in set 4, and that is a beautiful effort on the kill by Eileen Shi. Her first kill here of the set. It's 7-4.
Well, we've seen Bowdoin do that a couple times where they've specifically designed a play for Sophia Paul to get a good swing. Beacons find Eileen Shi to get that side out, get themselves back within 3.
Eileen with the service after her kill as Paul tried to tuck it in the line. She did, but Eileen kept it alive. And then getting it just off the outside of her hand there was Chepievska. Not sure if it was intentional, but it paid off. She got it up over the defense up front, and it's 7-5.
I think Amelia knew what she was doing the entire way. She went up in the motion where it looked like she was powering up for a big swing, and then at the last moment, a soft little touch to get the kill.
And an even prettier kill there from the likes of Soleil as Sydney tucks it in. It's 8-5. As I was alluding to, the Beacons hit the road for a 3-match road trip at Wellesley College, at Castleton for the first time since the Spartans became an LEC member, and then at Emmanuel College next week, and into the week of September 15th as that one is dug on out from the far side. Flaherty blocked up front by Doyle. Paul keeping alive Elliott. Kianko for Amelia. Great dig by the libero Sheldon. Flaherty out of bounds, and both teams want the credit, and it's UMass Boston's after a hesitation.
Well, that was some miscommunication between the up official, down official, and the line judge actually on the Bowdoin defensive side. No one was communicating whether that ball was in or out, and finally, I think the up official made the decision from as far away as possible.
Definitely was out, so it's a good call as 8-6 now Beacons trail. Flaherty, though, pounds that one through and in. And UMass Boston, much like they had in the first 3 sets, trailing here throughout set number 4.
You mentioned that Castleton conference match. That'll actually be the first time that any UMass Boston team faces Castleton in a conference match, the 14th. Also be the first time that one of the Beacons teams has to take what's now one of the worst road trips within the LEC.
That one was out, and it is 10-6. As the Beacons fall behind by 4. Castleton, is that Vermont?
Rutland, Vermont.
Yeah,
it's a solid 3 to 4 hours.
As the Beacons down by 4 here. See Kaiser tuck it home. She continues to really excel up front as it's 11-6. Great play from Kate Kaiser.
It's just so deceptive. I mean, Sydney Birch is right there, and she just can't get her hands up in time because it's all one motion. There's no hitch. There's nothing that gives it away.
Elliott Near side, Campano, dug out by Sheldon. King for Paul, and what a blast from Paul. Michaela did everything she could, but Paul and Sheldon have really excelled. We haven't even mentioned Ashley Williams in a while. She's been on the bench. And we have a timeout for Kate Carlson and the Beacons as UMass trails 12-6.
Well, one of the players we haven't given enough credit to is Sheldon. Sheldon has been so solid. And that's the thing about Bowdoin. Their defense is so solid. They're so strong. I mean, she's coming up with these digs where not only is the ball hit extremely hard, but she's in the correct defensive position. She makes a perfect pass to her setter, which leads to all these easy swings for their hitters. Their defense has generated a lot of their offensive opportunities. And right now, the only way I see UMass Boston getting back into this set is if the block starts picking up, because that's what they've been able to generate some easy points out of, and that's where their energy has come out of. UMass Boston they'll get a point or two here and there from a good swing, but they haven't been able to create consistent momentum here in the fourth set, or really the first or second. It was only the third set where the Beacons, trying to avoid a shutout at home, trying to keep that perfect record going. It's easy to win the third set with the other team maybe taking a step back mentally, thinking, okay, we're going to cruise. The fourth set is the toughest. Once you get to set 5, I mean, Bowdoin is already thinking we can't let this happen. But the fourth set is where every team, after giving up the third set, is thinking this needs to end right here and now. Let's not give in to a fifth set and give the other team all the momentum.
Flaherty keeps it alive and now gets it right back. Dug out by Sheldon. What reaction time for Lisa Sheldon. She continues to play well. Here's Paul right in between both Birch and Shi, and the lead is extended to 7.
Sheldon's up to 25 digs, and we're maybe just shy of the midway point of this fourth set. It's unbelievable what she's doing, and it kind of shows why she was the regional player of the year last year. One of the most solid liberos I've ever seen.
She digs it out again on the blast there from Birch, and then coming right back is Paul. She keeps it alive. Elliott for Campano, who's getting a lot of playing time here in the fourth set, and she gets another as UMass Boston staying alive here in set number 4. We will get some substitutions. Tiscareno checking back in, as is Cummins, stepping out both Birch and Elliott. Carson to serve for UMass Boston. Out there with Shi, Kianko, and Campana, as well as the duo of Tiscareno and and Chepieska up front, but there's another error on Cummins, handing it right back.
Yeah, that's 2 now for UMass Boston early on here in this fourth set, and that's what they were able to avoid doing in the third. Now, both teams have 10 service errors on the match.
That one is out off the service. Another service error, and so now 11-10. The Beacons have just one less than the visiting Polar Bears.
Yeah, somehow I think this is going to be a major talking point at practice on Monday, limiting the service errors, especially in tight matches like this one.
Kaiser far side, partially blocked off the blast from Flaherty. Near side from Cummins for Shi. Good dig by Sheldon again as Paul goes right back to Sheldon. She gets it over. Ava for Cummins. Ooh, Tiscareno just had enough reach to get that one over. Flaherty dug out by Michaela. Near side for Shi. Punches it and kept alive by Paul. What a volley. And unable to get her mitts on that one. At least not enough to get the ball over the net was Williams. And the Beacons now back within 5.
Another point where the Beacons have to work 4, 5, 6, 7 more touches than you expected to potentially get the point. I mean, this Bowdoin team, they're relentless defensively.
Kaiser gets it over. Chepieska, Kaminsk, and what a blast there. What else is new? Marcella delivers as Tiscareno puts the Beacons into double digits, down 14-10.
It's her 8th kill of the match. She also has 6 blocks, 4 digs, a nice all-around performance from the freshman.
Chepieska serving. Far side Flaherty, deflected and out. And so the point to the Polar Bears, 15-10.
That's a tough break. It wasn't actually a very good set for Bowdoin, but a good enough swing from Flaherty to force the block to stay up there, and the Beacons just tip it out of bounds.
There's Flaherty serving now. Dug out by Chepieska. Comments, finds Ava, and Ponyo gets it blocked dug out from Flaherty. Partially deflected up front, far side for Paul, out of bounds. So the Beacons back onto the scoreboard, 15-11, and back onto the court is Doyle, replacing Campano.
That was just the third error from Sophia Paul versus 18 kills. She was hitting 485 up until that swing. Probably going to put her down to about 470. She's just an unbelievable match for Bowdoin's top hitter.
That one almost handcuffed Sheldon, but she kept it alive. Comments near side for Eileen. Eileen deflected and in. If they can get Eileen Shi going in the second half of the fourth set, much like they did in the third set, the Beacons may be in business as we will get a timeout by the Polar Bears as they lead it 15-12. So UMass Boston still in this one, down 2 sets to 1, and after it was down 2-0 and it looked so dire in set 3, you have to like what you've seen with them keeping themselves in it so far.
Well, whenever you go down 2-0 at a non-essential match, this isn't a conference match, this isn't a postseason match, it's not do or die. To me, a part of the mind focuses just on how can we show improvement? How can we play a little bit better? Obviously, the final score matters, but can we take a positive out of this? The Beacons have already accomplished that. They showed they had the fight. They took the set. They played a lot better volleyball. But now if you're going to focus on actually winning this match, can you take 3 of the next 5 points? Can you take 4 of the next 6? Can you put the pressure back on Bowdoin when they were able to do that in the third set? Take a little 2-3 point lead. We saw some cracks in Bowdoin's defense. We saw some more service errors. That's what the Beacons need to do right here. They need to keep playing good volleyball, but they also have to take points out of this timeout. A service error, a 2-0 run for Bowdoin, and I think that might take them out of this match.
15-12, UMass Boston trailing here in fourth set action. Michaela Kianko will be serving for the Beacons out of the timeout. As this one is up and over, dug out by Flaherty. Kaiser finds Williams, and back in the game and back on the board is Ashley Williams.
And the Beacons are actually going to get the point.
Ooh.
The Beacons were pleading with the up official that the attack was made into the net, and they're going to get the point. So that's huge right there. And I don't think the Beacons were initially going to get the call, but then Eileen Shi asked the up official, hey, I saw this happen, and the up official conferred with the down official and overturned the call.
What a play by Flaherty to get that over from the end line, but not enough to get the point as that one is powered home from Doyle up front, and UMass Boston is back within 1. That overturn of the call may be a turning point.
That's huge. And then Sarah Doyle with her second kill. Feed her the ball. Make her an option in this offense, and you're going to make it a lot harder on this Bowdoin side.
What a play by Sheldon to dig that out as it was partially deflected by the net. Tiscareno cannot get it down. Still alive, Sheldon for Kaiser. In front for Abrams. That one kept alive by Comments. Finding Chepieska was Michaela. Williams keeps it alive for Flaherty. Amelia up front. Comments near side. She blocked in front. And the point to the Polar Bears.
A rare block for Bowdoin, but a huge one. Ashley Williams and Danielle Abrams combining for that block. And that was one of those points where it really felt like it could be a huge momentum shift. Both teams coming up with some big defensive plays to keep the point alive.
And that's trouble for the Beacons. Comments doesn't have the height up front that the likes of Doyle or Tiscareno. And off the service from Abrams, it's now a 3-point advantage. Abrams back there, ready to go again. Danielle rising up, dug out by Amelia. Comments for Tiscareno. Good play as the Beacons fold the defense, and we have a substitution as Birch will check in.
Beacons in that 6-2 rotation right now, and it's tough because it means that Tiscareno goes to the bench, with the Beacons getting a little bit more defensive with Birch coming on. And the Beacons also changing setters, Comments being replaced by Elliott.
Michaela digs it out. There is Elliott. Finding Shi. Good dig from Flaherty. Kaiser far side for Paul. Deflected and in. Both Beacon setters up front trying to block that one, unable to do so. And we will see another substitution as King checks in for Williams. And Tiscareno, as you mentioned, now out as Birch is in as well. So here we go. 18-15 here in set 4. Birch digs it out. Elliott coming back towards Amelia. Paul keeps it alive. Soleil near side, and that is a point for UMass Boston, as deflecting it out of bounds up front was Kaiser. So she back to serve with her team down 2. 18-16 here in set 4. It's 2-1 Bowdoin. Both of these teams undefeated coming into play today. That one almost handcuffed King. She kept it alive. Kaiser far side for Paul. And Sophia again delivers. It's 19-16.
Well, both teams just feeding their horse. Eileen Shi comes up with a big kill. Bowdoin goes back to Paul. Those two players both close to 20 kills on the day. Paul the slight advantage. That was her 19th kill, and Eileen Shi now has a double-double.
Good play there from Birch. That was close. She let it go, and that's an error on Paul. And the Beacons back on the scoreboard. So Michaela sits down now, as she will take a seat, and the Beacons will have service in the form of Doyle. That one dug out, and unable to get it over was Kaiser, kept alive and helped out there from Soleil. Near side for Ava Campana, who just checked in for Michaela. Near side now, and pounded right into the mitts and into the chest of Birch, who couldn't handle the power of Soleil, who heads to the bench, getting her team the 20th point of set 4.
It's a great swing by Sydney Soleil. The one positive on that point is the Beacons finally were able to read Kaiser. Kaiser went over on 2 for the 4th time today. Campana was able to keep the ball alive.
Michaela digs it out far side. Amelia, and that is answering back if you're UMass Boston.
Yeah, but right now you can't trade point for point, and that's what the teams have been doing. Bowdoin will take it, leading by 2 here late. Beacons get that change in setter. Tiscareno's back out there. Can UMass Boston find a way to tie or take the lead here?
Carson Commons back in as well. She's serving. She began the set as the service specialist, and unfortunately that error could prove catastrophic.
I mean, the Beacons now 4 service aces, which is that's what they were averaging a set going into today, and 11 service errors. Too many freebies given to this Bowdoin side, the way Bowdoin is played.
Kaiser serving, dug out by Eileen. Comments, setting it up for Tiscareno, kept alive by Paul. Near side for Williams, and the Beacons have no answer for Ashley Williams, who's gotten a chance to get a lot of time on the bench and catch her breath, but when she comes in, she is powerful.
I mean, Ashley Williams has we talked about her skills, and she's looked good at points, but she only has 7 kills. That's 4th on the team. That's how good this Bowdoin side is, that Williams, who's a talented hitter, isn't a player they have to rely on to play well.
That's an error by Kaiser. 22-19. 3 points away are the Polar Bears, and now 2, as that is 12 now on the Beacons. Service errors. And 23-19 as the Polar Bears inch closer.
The Beacons' big focus is serve tough. That's what they preach. And serving tough means that, yeah, you're going to have some service errors, but you need to be a little bit closer to finding a line there. Chepieska left that one well short.
Eileen Shi deflected it in. So Eileen, last gasp here as the Beacons get the point. It's 23-20. Ava will take a seat, replaced out there by Doyle. So the Beacons have Michaela, Chepieska, Comments, Shi, Doyle, and Tiscareno out there. Here's Michaela. Down by 3, and then there's a 13th service error on UMass Boston. And now match point for the visiting Polar Bears.
The last 3 Beacons to step to the service line have resulted in service errors. So every time the Beacons get that all-important side out, they give it right back.
Abrams serving, trying to win it, and she will. Off the mitts of Michaela Kianko, and that's just how the day went for the Beacons' best player, or at least their best defender, as the Beacons go down in 4 sets and are iced by the Polar Bears. The final in set 4, 25-20. The final in this match, Bowdoin 3, UMass Boston 1. And UMass Boston just unable to catch up after a slow start. And as we've been talking about here in the 4th set, a lot of errors that led the way to this loss.
Too many errors and just a lack of execution at the end of the 1st and the 4th set. Remember, the Beacons lost the 1st set 25-16, but it was 15-15 at one point. And then here in the fourth set, they had a chance to get back into it late, but the service errors, a bad service reception, and Michaela Kianko did not have her best day. Let's be honest. I mean, she's a player who's capable of playing better than this, and I'm sure she will the next time out against another good Wellesley team. But this Beacons team can learn from this. And honestly, I think Bowdoin can learn from this as well. They lost the set. It'll help them when they get into NESCAC play against some tough competition. But both sides showed a little bit of nerves, and the Beacons just better execution. When you play good teams, you have to execute better. And this shows this Beacons team there's still work to be done as they try to get to be the best UMass Boston side. I mean, it's great to be 5-0, but if you're 5-0 playing teams that are okay, that are middle of the pack, now let's see what you can do against the better team. And the Beacons showed that they're not quite where they need to be, and the big goal is to be there in early November, not here on the second weekend of September.
These teams played 9 times between 2011 and 2015, 3 times in NCAA tournament play, and this was an NCAA tournament type of match. The Beacons lose the final 3-1. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, Seth and I will wrap this up with a bow, no pun intended, as Bowdoin triumphs over UMass Boston right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
I'm Alexa Capion. I'm from Messina, New York. I'm a junior on the women's ice hockey team, and I'm an exercise health science major. But when I got here, I met Coach Harris, and I saw the facility, and I met a couple of the girls on the team, and I pretty much got a feel of the program, and I knew right away that this is where I wanted to go to school. We have all league games for the rest of the year, so that's going to be a huge test for us. We need those points to hopefully come out with a good standing for playoffs. A couple of highlights from the last couple of years that I've been playing was probably last year when we won our first Codfish Bowl. We made history that year. I was really excited to be part of that. I don't have very many goals, but when I do score, it's definitely a big deal.
That's a goal.
For the past 3 years, we've had Emily. She is a member of the Team Impact program, and that's for children with illnesses that want to be part of a collegiate program. She's great. She comes and watches all of our games. She has her own jersey. She has her own stick. We've got her all this equipment. It's really awesome to have. She gives us a lot of motivation, and she comes in the locker room and talks to us before games, and it's really cool to have her here and be part of our team. When I graduate, I definitely want to go to graduate school, most likely for either athletic training or physical therapy. Our trainers here have definitely given me an insight about what it takes to be an athletic trainer. They're always on top of everything. They always know how to help us and what to do and what not to do. They're always there for us when we need them, and that's given me a lot of help with what I could be doing after I graduate, so that's nice to have them.
Psychology is about understanding the individual and understanding the mind and understanding how it affects others. The main reason why I want to combine psychology and business degrees is because I want to understand the business decisions that are made. I'm Nurçin Çelebi. I'm from Turkey originally. I'm a senior at the 5-year BA to MBA program at UMass Boston. Right now I'm doing an internship, so I will be starting to get experience in the field, and on top of that, getting an MBA and adding that business edge to my psychology degree. I think in management, the biggest mistake you can make is to not listen. So I want to be able to step into a company and say, here's what you're doing now, and here's how you can improve it in order to get the best out of your people and in order to actually have people coming in here with passion. I moved here when I was 16 for high school. Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me. It was really a blessing for me to come to UMass Boston because it helped me really grow and show me that I can do things on my own. I wanted to be able to improve myself. I wanted to be able to try new things. And I think UMass gave me a really good head start on that.
At that back white line, I thought it was a bit deep. So did the entire Bowdoin bench that had quite a few looks of the
straight. And we are underway here in set 4, and that is a beautiful effort on the kill by. Definitely was out, so it's a good call as 8-6 now Beacons trail. Flaherty, though, pounds that one through and in. And UMass. Kaiser gets it over. Chepievska, Kaminsk, and what a blast there. What else is new?
happened, and the up official conferred with the down official and overturned the call.
What a play by Flaherty to get that over from the end line, but not enough to get the point. That's it alive. Soleil, near side, and that is a point for UMass Boston. And for Ava Campana, who just checked in for Michaela. Near side now, and pounded right into the mitts and into the chest of Birch. Welcome back into the broadcasting booth. Along with Seth Orensky, I'm John Scooters. Beacons losing 3-1 to the Bowdoin College Polar Bears. Welcome to the post-game show. Beacons, unfortunately, as you see on your screen, got off to a real inauspicious start. They battled back to the final 3 sets, very close, within 5 points. Beacons getting to 20 in all of them and winning set 3. But in the end, this is a Bowdoin team that had come in having not lost a set all year, and they'll walk out of this one having not lost a match, improving to 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Bowdoin plays out of the New England Small College Athletic Conference, the NESCAC for short, and the NESCAC volleyball is some of the best volleyball in New England. This is the best team the Beacons have faced, at least here in New England, probably overall, and UMass Boston showed that they have a couple steps to compete consistently with a team like this. They played really well in the third set. They played well in spurts in the second set and the beginning of the first, even the fourth. It's just consistency right now. They really missed Rachel Maslach in this match, and I'm surprised it took this long. I mean, honestly, like a 5-0 start without a player who's not only a setter but also a hitter. I mean, she plays all the way around. She stays in there, and the Beacons missed her. But guess what? It's a loss. You're going to suffer losses. The best teams in the country, the national champion this year in Division III volleyball, 99% of the time they're going to take a loss. They might have 2 on the season, but they'll take a loss or 2. And realistically, this is going to help UMass Boston long term. They play a really good Wellesley team on Wednesday that had a nice win yesterday. They take on Amherst and Tufts to round out this month, and then they head to California to start October, and they'll play some really good teams. I think they'll play at least 1, maybe 2 nationally ranked teams. Guess what? For UMass Boston, it's all about November, and here in September, it's good to take your lumps.
Despite the loss, the Beacons did see some solid performances. Most notably, Eileen Shi continued to enforce her will when it comes to offensive abilities, and both offensively and defensively, Marcelle Tiscareno delivered for UMass Boston at times today and looked like the best player on the court more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, Tiscareno showed up. Eileen Shi had a little bit of a slow start, and then she played really well. You look at the final stats, the Beacons actually ended up hitting just below Bowdoin, but Bowdoin 69 digs. I mean, the Beacons' defense was good for the most part. Bowdoin's defense was phenomenal, and that was a big difference because the Beacons had the blocks. Neither team served particularly well. Neither team did particularly well in terms of their the service errors, but the defense was key for Bowdoin, and it really was the difference today. Bowdoin just kept up a lot of balls that the Beacons had seen be kills in each of their first 5 matches.
Individually, take a look at the team leaders. You see there Eileen Shi leading the way in kills, as I said. Marcelle leading the way with 5 blocks, and the Beacons getting a lot of contributions throughout the lineup. Ditto for Bowdoin College. It wasn't any one player that led the way.
No, I mean, Sophia Paul had a tremendous match. Match-high 20 kills. She added 12 digs, one of 3 Polar Bears with 12 or more digs. Kate Kaiser had 43 of the team's 52 assists. But, again, Lisa Sheldon, huge match. Really, really nice job. 30 kills over 4 sets. That's a really nice number. And Michaela Kianko, and I'm not meaning to point her out, but Michaela Kianko, when the Beacons are going well, is typically a huge reason why. But today she didn't have one of her better matches, finishing with 12 digs. And I think that the next time out against Wellesley, you're going to see an invigorated Michaela Kianko, because she wants to prove that she's as good as Lisa Sheldon. Last year, Sheldon got the award. Michaela wants it this time, and Michaela didn't have as productive of a match as Sheldon, and that's a part of the reason why the Beacons weren't able to defeat the Polar Bears.
Absolutely. Beacons also struggling in service today, committing double-digit errors. As you see, Chepieska led the team with just 2 aces this afternoon. As always, want to thank our production team for helping put together what was a successful New England Invitational broadcast on the BBN and a long day here on a Saturday in New England. Our producer and color commentator here for the final game of the Invitational, Seth Orensky. Our directors, Gigi Braga and Kelly Danahy. On replay, Gigi as well, and our camera operators, Mike Mulligan, Sarah King, and Olivia Petito. For everyone involved, and for my partner in crime, Seth, good night, good luck, and good volleyball. The Beacons falling to Bowdoin College by the final of 3-1. Until next time, this has been a Beacons Broadcasting Network production.